Stop scrolling. Stop dreaming. Your future is waiting, and it won't wait for your excuses. Every second you waste, someone else is mastering their life. Are you ready to step up? Comfort is killing your potential. If you want greatness, you must face the truth today. The life you want is not given, it's earned, and it begins with one disciplined choice. Let's face reality. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. One day, you wake up feeling unstoppable, ready to conquer the world. The next day, a small setback, a minor inconvenience, or even a distraction can drain that feeling completely. That's why relying on motivation alone is a trap. It's a temporary spark, not a reliable engine. Discipline, on the other hand, is not about feelings. It doesn't depend on your mood, your energy, or your current circumstances. Discipline is the decision to act consistently, even when you don't feel like it. It's the power that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Think about the people you admire, the ones who consistently succeed. Do you think they are motivated every single day? Absolutely not. Motivation will fail you. It is an emotional high that has an expiration date. But discipline is built into the fabric of your character. Discipline is a choice to honor your commitments and take action regardless of how you feel. Every time you push yourself to act when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you refuse to give in to laziness, you invest in your future success. Discipline beats motivation every single time because it doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. Motivation waits for inspiration, for the right feeling, for the stars to align. Discipline doesn't wait. Discipline moves. It acts. It says, I don't need to feel like it. I will do it anyway. And that is how results are created. Greatness is not reserved for those who feel motivated. Greatness is reserved for those who are disciplined enough to take action day after day, even when no one is watching, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard. Look at your own life. How often have you started a project, a routine, or a goal with excitement, only to quit when motivation faded? That is a universal story. Everyone experiences it. But here's the difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people. The extraordinary ones do not quit. They understand that motivation is unreliable. They rely on discipline as their engine. Discipline is what keeps them moving when the excitement is gone. Discipline is what allows them to turn small, consistent actions into massive results. You may say, but I get motivated sometimes. Isn't that enough? No, it's not. Motivation alone cannot carry you through the resistance, the distractions, and the obstacles of life. Motivation alone will abandon you at the first sign of difficulty. Discipline is what turns dreams into reality. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. Every great accomplishment in history, every business built, every skill mastered, and every life transformed is the result of disciplined action, not motivation, discipline. Now, here's the practical truth. Discipline is a muscle. It grows stronger every time you use it. The more you act even when you don't feel like it, the easier it becomes to keep going. And the more your discipline grows, the less you need motivation. In fact, the more disciplined you become, the less you even notice motivation. You stop relying on a fleeting feeling because your system, your habits, and your routines carry you forward automatically. That is the power of discipline. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop hoping that inspiration will magically appear at the right time. Stop blaming your feelings for your lack of progress. Instead, make the decision to commit. Decide to take action every single day, no matter what. Decide to honor your word, to honor your plans, and to honor your goals. Decide to act even when you feel tired, even when you feel discouraged, and even when you feel uncertain. Because each time you do, you are building the most valuable asset you can ever own, your discipline. Discipline beats motivation every time because it is permanent. Motivation is temporary. Motivation can lift you for a moment, but discipline will carry you for a lifetime. When you master discipline, you are no longer a prisoner of your emotions. You are no longer dependent on circumstances. You are free. You are unstoppable. You are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined because discipline is the engine that powers every achievement. Without it, motivation is just a spark. With it, you become a force. Most people go through life thinking they are in control, but the truth is most of us are being led by our habits. Every day you wake up, you brush your teeth, you scroll your phone, you eat, you work, you interact with people, and almost none of it is conscious. These small, automatic actions are your habits, and while they may seem harmless, they quietly shape your future. If your habits are weak, inconsistent, or misaligned with your goals, your results will always reflect that. No matter how talented, smart, or capable you are, if you are being led by bad habits, your potential is wasted. To lead your habits, you must first recognize them. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Take a look at your day minute by minute and ask yourself, which actions are moving me closer to my goals? Which are keeping me stuck? Most people will be shocked to find that their biggest habits are not helping them at all. They are simply repeating patterns of comfort, distraction, or convenience. And this is why people fail, not because they don't have the knowledge or resources, but because they are being led by habits that are steering them in the wrong direction. Leading your habits begins with choice. Discipline is making a decision and acting on it consistently. It's not enough to know what you should do. You must structure your environment and routines so that the right actions are easier to take and the wrong actions are harder to do. If you want to be productive, you must build a schedule that eliminates distractions. If you want to be healthy, you must organize your environment to make healthy choices simple and accessible. Habits, once formed, become automatic. But until then, you must consciously decide what you allow to repeat in your life. Consistency is the key. Habits are formed not in a single heroic effort, but in small, repeated actions over time. One disciplined decision compounds with another. One morning you wake up and say, I will read 10 pages of a book, and another day you say the same. Then you repeat it every day, and soon, what was once a choice becomes automatic. You stop thinking about it, and it begins to shape your identity. The person you become is the sum total of your habits. That is why it is so dangerous to let bad habits lead you. They form your identity too, and that identity determines your results. Take control of your environment, your routines, and your mind. Remove triggers that cause negative habits. Introduce cues that make positive habits irresistible. Lead your habits instead of being a passenger. Every time you choose to act consciously, you are telling yourself, I am in charge. I determine my life. Every time you let your habits run on autopilot without leadership, you are telling yourself, I am a victim of my own patterns. And the difference between a successful life and a mediocre one is simply which statement you believe and act upon consistently. Accountability is another powerful tool. Even the strongest person cannot always control themselves without systems of support. Surround yourself with people, tools, and structures that reinforce the habits you want to grow. Set reminders, track your progress, and celebrate small wins. Every time you honor a habit consciously, you reinforce your leadership over it. Every time you fail and recognize it, you get the chance to correct it. That is the essence of mastery awareness, conscious choice, repetition, and adjustment. Remember, your habits are invisible leaders, shaping every area of your life, your health, your productivity, your relationships, and your financial results. To achieve mastery, you must become the visible leader of these invisible forces. Decide which habits deserve your energy and attention. Lead them with discipline, focus, and intentionality. When you do, you no longer react to life, you create it. You no longer drift aimlessly, you steer purposefully. You no longer hope for success, you build it. One disciplined habit at a time. When you lead your habits, they begin to work for you instead of against you. They compound into momentum, confidence, and results that feel effortless because your habits are aligned with your purpose. This is the power of conscious habit leadership. It turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. Most people get stuck waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of themselves. They convince themselves that if they do everything flawlessly, success will magically arrive. But here's the truth: perfection is an illusion. It is a trap that keeps you frozen, waiting for conditions that will never exist. Life doesn't wait for perfection, and neither does opportunity. Consistency, not perfection, is the true engine of results. It is the daily, imperfect actions taken over time that compound into extraordinary outcomes. Consistency beats perfection because it creates momentum. One perfect day is not enough. One flawless effort does not build mastery. But when you show up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results are slow or invisible, you are building an unstoppable force. Momentum is created through repeated action, not flawless planning. Every small step, every consistent effort pushes you closer to your goals. And over time, those small actions add up to results that perfection alone could never achieve. Think about the people who have achieved massive success. Do you believe they never made mistakes? Absolutely not. They failed, they stumbled, they messed up repeatedly. What set them apart was not perfection. It was their relentless consistency. They committed to showing up, learning, adjusting, and moving forward no matter what. They understood that each imperfect action, when repeated consistently, becomes a stepping stone to mastery. The person who is consistent will always surpass the person waiting for perfection. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you consistently follow through, you prove that you are reliable, disciplined, and committed. Your habits, actions, and routines begin to define you more than your intentions or your dreams. People who can trust themselves to act daily, regardless of circumstances, become unstoppable. On the other hand, waiting for perfection erodes confidence. You start doubting your ability, delaying action, and losing opportunities while waiting for an impossible, perfect moment. The key to consistency is creating systems that make your actions repeatable and manageable. You cannot rely solely on willpower or motivation. Motivation fluctuates, willpower wanes. Systems and routines ensure that you continue to act even when motivation is gone. Identify the key actions that will drive your results, then structure your day, your environment, and your habits so that you can execute them consistently. Small wins repeated consistently are far more powerful than rare perfect efforts. Consistency also teaches resilience. Life will test you with setbacks, distractions, and failures. If you are chasing perfection, these setbacks will paralyze you because you believe the plan must be flawless. But if you are committed to consistency, setbacks become lessons, interruptions become adjustments, and mistakes become growth opportunities. You continue moving forward step by step, no matter what. This resilience is what creates long-term success, and it cannot exist without consistent action. Another important aspect is embracing imperfection without losing momentum. Action must come before results, and results will never be perfect immediately. Waiting for conditions to be perfect or for every detail to be aligned is a recipe for stagnation. The consistent person acts despite imperfection, refines as they go, and learns through experience. Over time, that iterative approach leads to mastery far faster than waiting for perfect conditions ever could. Consistency compounds. One day of focused action builds on the previous day. 1 month of daily effort becomes a significant achievement. 1 year of consistent work transforms your skills, your confidence, and your results. Perfection will never give you this compounding effect because it is sporadic, unattainable, and dependent on fleeting conditions. Consistency is the multiplier of effort, the secret weapon of high achievers, and the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Ultimately, the lesson is simple. Don't wait to be perfect. Start now and keep going. Show up daily, take imperfect action, adjust when necessary, and commit to repetition over time. Consistency is the key that unlocks results, builds trust, strengthens character, and creates momentum. It is the reliable engine behind every successful person, every thriving business, and every extraordinary life. Most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom means doing whatever you feel like, whenever you want. They believe that freedom is living without rules, without structure, without limitations. But the reality is the exact opposite. True freedom comes from discipline. Discipline is the key that unlocks control over your life, your choices, and ultimately your destiny. Without discipline, you are a slave to your emotions, your impulses, and the circumstances around you. With discipline, you are unstoppable. You can achieve anything because your actions are guided by purpose, not by fleeting feelings. Think about it. The undisciplined person may feel free in the short term. They can eat whatever they want, scroll their phone all day, and avoid responsibilities. But in the long term, they are trapped by debt, trapped by bad health, trapped by unfulfilled dreams. Their freedom is an illusion. They have no control over their outcomes because their habits control them. On the other hand, the disciplined person may give up temporary pleasure, stick to routines, and make sacrifices, but they gain real freedom. They gain the ability to shape their life, to steer their future, and to create opportunities that others only dream of. Discipline is the foundation of freedom because it allows you to say no to the things that limit you. It gives you control over your time, your energy, and your focus. When you are disciplined, you no longer react to life, you respond with intention. You don't let distractions dictate your day. You don't let short-term comfort sabotage your long-term goals. You set boundaries, create systems, and stick to principles that guide you towards success. That is freedom. The freedom to act with purpose, not impulsively. Most people underestimate the power of self-control. They think being disciplined is about restriction or suffering. No, discipline is about empowerment. Every time you choose a productive action over a distracting one, every time you choose to honor your commitments instead of giving in to temptation, you are building your freedom. You are creating a life where you are in charge, where your choices matter, and where you are not at the mercy of circumstances or fleeting emotions. Discipline is what allows you to live life on your terms. Consider your habits. Every repeated action, every daily decision either builds chains or breaks them. If you let your habits lead you, you are a prisoner. But when you lead your habits, you gain control. This is why disciplined people always have more freedom. They can work hard, invest smart, save wisely, and take risks with confidence because they are not enslaved by their impulses. They are free to make decisions that others cannot because they have mastered themselves. Discipline also gives freedom from regret. When you live an undisciplined life, you accumulate debt, wasted time, missed opportunities, and broken promises. Regret weighs heavily because you know you had potential but failed to act. Discipline removes that burden. It allows you to say, I acted, I showed up, I did what needed to be done. Even if the results are not immediate, the freedom of knowing you are committed to your purpose is priceless. It is the peace of mind that comes from integrity and intentional living. Another aspect of freedom through discipline is financial independence. Most people remain chained to jobs, responsibilities, and obligations because they never practice financial discipline. They spend impulsively, save irregularly, and invest inconsistently. Discipline changes that. It allows you to manage your money wisely, create multiple streams of income, and eventually achieve true financial freedom. This freedom is not about extravagance. It is about choice, the ability to say yes or no, to pursue opportunity, and to live life without constant fear or limitation. Discipline frees you from fear, doubt, and indecision. When you know your priorities and stick to them consistently, you gain confidence. You know what to do next, and you know that you will follow through. You no longer get paralyzed by uncertainty because your discipline has trained you to act regardless of how you feel. That is the ultimate freedom, the freedom to act, the freedom to create, the freedom to become the person you were meant to be. Ultimately, discipline is not a restriction. It is liberation. The more disciplined you are, the less you are a prisoner to circumstances, emotions, and distractions. Every act of discipline strengthens your control, builds your capacity, and expands your freedom. Those who master discipline are the ones who truly live life on their own terms, achieve extraordinary results, and experience freedom that goes beyond temporary pleasure or convenience. Discipline does not take away freedom. It creates it, amplifies it, and makes it permanent. Most people want to grow, achieve, and succeed, but they want it on their own terms. They want the rewards, but they don't want the work. They want the results, but they don't want the discomfort. They want the freedom, but they don't want the sacrifice. Here's the truth. Growth never comes without leaving your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It keeps you small, safe, and stagnant. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must be willing to sacrifice the ease and security of comfort for the discomfort of growth. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is the investment that multiplies your potential. Every successful person, every leader, every achiever has paid the price of discomfort. They endured long hours, faced criticism, took risks, and made decisions that were unpopular, inconvenient, or difficult. And every time they chose growth over comfort, they gained skills, confidence, and momentum that comfort could never provide. Growth requires tension, challenge, and sometimes fear. Comfort is the opposite of tension. It dulls your edge and limits your vision. Your comfort zone is a safe place, but it is also a cage. It allows you to stay where you are, but it prevents you from becoming who you were meant to be. Every moment you choose comfort over growth, you delay your potential. Every habit of avoidance, procrastination, or distraction strengthens the walls of your cage. If you want a bigger life, you must be willing to embrace discomfort. You must accept that the path to success is not easy. You must understand that every decision to stretch yourself, learn something difficult, or face a challenge is an investment in your future self. Sacrifice is also about priorities. Most people spend their energy on what is easy, immediate, or entertaining. They choose instant gratification over long-term results. They eat, scroll, watch, and wait while their dreams wait silently in the background. But those who choose growth over comfort prioritize the things that matter, even when they are hard. They wake up early to study, practice, or plan. They say no to distractions. They dedicate their time and resources to activities that create progress. This is the difference between stagnation and success, between mediocrity and mastery. Growth also requires emotional sacrifice. You will feel fear, doubt, and uncertainty when stepping into new territory. You will face rejection, criticism, and discomfort. Your mind will resist change because comfort feels safe. But the mind that chooses growth over comfort develops strength, resilience, and courage. Every challenge you face is a test of your willingness to sacrifice temporary ease for long-term results. Every uncomfortable decision is a signal that you are moving closer to the person you are capable of becoming. Discomfort teaches lessons that comfort never can. In comfort, you become complacent. You repeat the same routines, stay in the same circle, and think in the same patterns. But when you sacrifice comfort, you are forced to adapt, to stretch, to problem solve, and to grow. This is how new skills are acquired, how confidence is built, and how character is developed. Growth is forged in the tension between what is easy and what is necessary. Those who avoid discomfort avoid mastery, and those who embrace it rise above the masses. Financial, mental, and physical growth all require sacrifice. You may have to work harder than others, delay leisure, invest more time or money into learning, or change your environment. You may have to leave toxic people, bad habits, or outdated mindsets behind. Each sacrifice strengthens your ability to handle bigger challenges and opens doors to greater opportunities. Comfort may feel good today, but it will never produce results tomorrow. Remember, life rewards those willing to pay the price. Your comfort is temporary, but your growth is permanent. Every time you choose the challenge over ease, the discomfort over laziness, and the long-term vision over short-term satisfaction, you are building a life that others only dream about. Growth always requires sacrifice, and those willing to sacrifice comfort will achieve what most will never attempt. Sacrifice is not about losing, it is about gaining. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Comfort is the jailer, growth is the key, and your willingness to endure temporary discomfort determines the size of your life. The greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward, and the more extraordinary your life becomes. Integrity with yourself is the foundation of every success you will ever achieve. Most people think integrity is about how they appear to others, about keeping promises to friends, family, or coworkers. But the real measure of character is what you do when no one is watching. It is the decisions you make in private, the promises you make to yourself, and whether or not you honor them. Your word to yourself is more powerful than any contract, any rule, or any external expectation. If you cannot be faithful to your own commitments, how can you expect the world to trust you? Every action you take, no matter how small, either strengthens or weakens your integrity. Waking up on time, following through on your plans, completing tasks you started, practicing your craft, sticking to your routines. These are the quiet, unseen moments that define your character. Most people ignore them because they seem insignificant. They think it's just one day or it doesn't matter this time. But that small decision is actually a building block. Each time you honor your word to yourself, you are creating a stronger, more disciplined, and more capable version of yourself. Each time you break it, you chip away at your confidence and weaken your future. Integrity with yourself is also about truthfulness. It is being honest about where you are, what you are capable of, and what you are avoiding. Most people lie to themselves constantly. I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired, I deserve this break. These little lies compound into a life of mediocrity. But when you face reality, admit your weaknesses, and commit to doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, you are practicing integrity. That integrity becomes the core of your character, the engine that drives personal growth and achievement. Discipline and integrity are inseparable. You cannot master discipline without integrity, and you cannot build integrity without consistent action. Every time you follow through on what you promised yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, you are training your character. You are sending a message to your mind and your soul. I can be trusted. I am reliable. I am capable, and over time, these repeated acts form a foundation so solid that no obstacle, temptation, or distraction can shake it. Self-integrity also builds confidence. When you honor your commitments, you develop trust in your own abilities. You stop doubting whether you can achieve what you set out to do because you have proven to yourself repeatedly that you can. Confidence is not born from talent, luck, or even opportunity. It is born from consistency, from following through, and from being true to your word. Every promise kept is a deposit in the bank of your self-respect, and every deposit compounds into unshakable confidence. Moreover, integrity with yourself influences every area of life. Your relationships, your work, your finances, and your health all benefit when you consistently honor your own standards. If you treat yourself with respect, you naturally demand respect from others. If you act with honesty, you attract honest people. If you follow through, you build momentum that leads to bigger opportunities. Integrity is the invisible force that shapes your life long before others recognize your efforts. The people who achieve extraordinary results are those who refuse to compromise with themselves. They understand that shortcuts, excuses, and temporary comforts erode character. They do not wait for external accountability. They hold themselves to a higher standard. They understand that every decision, every habit, every action either builds their integrity or diminishes it. And they choose consistently to build it because they know their future depends on it. In the end, integrity with yourself is about mastery over your own mind and actions. It is about making promises to yourself and keeping them without fail. It is about doing what is right, even when it is difficult, inconvenient, or unseen. It is about building a character so strong that success, discipline, and freedom naturally follow. Your word is your power, your commitments are your foundation, and your integrity is the bridge to the extraordinary life you are capable of living. Discipline is everything. Master it, and nothing in life can stop you. Your habits, your choices, your integrity, they will define your destiny. Make them count. Every action you take today is a vote for the person you will become tomorrow. Choose wisely. Stop waiting for motivation. Lead your habits. Embrace discomfort and create the life you deserve.